I'm here with Cliff Jordan from Movement Church. Where is that from?
Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond, Virginia. And he is the lead pastor here at m-fuge for North Greenville at this time for our camp session. First of all, yesterday was just this huge storm that passed through, and worship itself got canceled as well as all the evening activities and all that. How did that impact you on your whole week of preparation and all that, of deciding what to say on each day? How did that impact you to change it up and all that?
Well, it impacted me, first off, I had to go back to my place and watch a movie. No, for the flow of the week, you have to trust that God knows what he's doing. And what ended up happening, I'm taking tonight's message and splitting it in two. And so we'll focus on part one tonight and then part two Saturday morning, because I didn't have anything for Saturday morning. I was just going to do a general kind of big send-off, and so now it's just going to be a shorter message. So it's actually going to work out really nice. And it's really interesting how it did kind of work itself out to where we're going to be today. So, it may be not ideal, but we don't live in an ideal world, and God knows what he's doing, and you just got to trust that at times like that.
I gotcha. So how long have you been in ministry?
I've been in ministry about 10 years. I've pastored an old church before, and I am now starting a new church, a non-traditional church. So,
with the 10 years, what really caused you to start yourself to go into ministry and do all that?
Yeah, when I was a high school student, it's when I was being discipled under a youth minister, and I really started to feel called into, being a pastor, and it wasn't just me feeling that call, it was other people kind of seeing that in me. I went through a strong season of rebellion at the end of my high school year, but when God brought me back, it was just like full steam ahead towards ministry. That's
cool. I know you have family and other stuff, priorities to take care of. What really caused you to come here and be a pastor here?
Well, one of my passions in ministry is to teach and proclaim the word. So any opportunity I get to teach and proclaim the word, I take. And so whether it's weekly with my little church plant, or in a larger venue like this, I want to jump on any opportunity that I get to proclaim the word.
Okay. With doing that, how do you balance your life between having the family, having pastoring at a church, and doing m-fuge?
Well, on a normal week, my wife makes me take off Mondays, and so Mondays are kind of our family days. I try not to do anything church related, and I kind of use that as my Sabbath. It's my normal Sunday for most people, where you just kick back and you just kind of relax and get caught back up spiritually, and to kind of just spend some time with the Lord intentionally that day. On weeks like this, it's been hard to kind of get that intentional time, away from the Lord, because you're with people almost all the day, and then you're preparing, getting last minute stuff ready for the different sermons and stuff like that. And so it's been tough, but as far as spiritually, you just got to find the time to do it, and you got to have faith that spending time with the Lord is important enough and is vital enough that you make the time. When it comes to family, I've been on Skype, with my kids for about an hour a day, just kind of seeing them. And then plus they're going to join me next week when I do week 2 for camp. And then it doesn't hurt that week 3 we're going straight to the beach for a veg out, family vacation. So.
Oh, that's good. So with being at m-fuge and all that, I know, is this your first week, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what has been the most memorable experience that you've had so far, that you feel?
I think the most memorable would be when I had planned this illustration that was supposed to take this piece of pottery that kind of I'd used the night before to symbolize God creating humanity and forming us and creating us different than all of the other creation. And the purpose was to take it and drop it and shatter it, symbolizing Adam and Eve's choice to rebel and to fall from God. The problem is it was a really thick piece of pottery, and so when it dropped, it only chipped, and it just kind of rolled around on the stage, and it didn't really give me the effect I wanted it. But that night was probably the most memorable because of that happening, but then it became the most memorable because, I don't know, God used that night to really do some things in a lot of students' lives. And I'm still getting reports from student leaders saying what different decisions that their students have made that night and how that impacted them. And so it was a botched illustration, but the point got across.
You've been on certain missions for Fuge and all that throughout this week. How has that really impacted you, do you think?
That really excited me more than seeing the kids play on the fields. Like, I like to see the youth obviously have fun and all that, but when I went out onto the mission sites and saw like students giving up their time to go serve, I got really excited. And I got excited for the kingdom of God here in Greenville to see that every week this summer, hundreds of students are pouring into their community and serving and playing with little kids and building things and just spending time with a hurting and broken community. I really think that's really incredible. I just hope that type of stuff goes on at home as well as here at Week of Fuge.
Now, how important do you think it is for students to go out there and do missions and all that for Fuge and all that?
It's vital. We talk about like how do you grow as a Christian? Like, what's the most important thing you can do is grow. And I think that a lot of people will answer that by saying, well, you got to have more Bible knowledge. You got to study more. You got to learn more. But I think that you don't have to learn more. You have to do more. You have to do more of what you've learned. I think we cut ourselves short by saying, well, I just want another Bible study. I say I want to get students, I want to get people out living what they do know. And I think they're going to learn even more and more as they're out doing it. And so I think anytime you get outside of yourself and you sacrificially serve others, I think that's one of the best things you can do.
That's really good. What do you like most about teaching at a camp like this?
The thing I love most is just being able to communicate to that many people at one time, and to think that something that you say, something about the word that you bring could have eternal impact. It's a powerful kind of moment to see students responding to the word spoken, and so that's just a really unique thing. You don't get that when it's just one youth group, when it's just one church. You don't get that huge possible impact as you do when there's 1,000 students there. So
that's good. What do you think is probably the most important action that a student must do in order to grow in their faith with God?
It all starts with trusting Jesus, and I think something I've done this week is hopefully go through the full story of what it means. Jesus didn't just show up on the cross. I mean, Jesus started it all, and we fell from Jesus early on, and he's the one who came back and redeemed us. And so it all starts with understanding the full story and understanding and trusting Jesus to take care of your sin, and trusting Jesus for your identity, and trusting Jesus for not just your identity as a new believer, but the mission that comes along with being a new believer. So it goes back to what I said earlier about getting out and doing stuff, getting outside of yourself and sacrificially serving others, being on mission with Jesus, I think is the most important thing, a student can do by far.
Okay. Now, this is kind of more of a personal question to ask you, but what struggles have you faced, through your walk in faith so far with God, and how have you overcome it?
Yeah, I've gone through many seasons of rebellion. And I didn't overcome it. God overcame it, and God came after me relentlessly. And even though I ran from him, he's the one who ran after me. But on a kind of a lately, I deal with same things that everybody else deals with. Consistency in my time with him. Making the time with him, and thinking that I'm too busy to make time with him. And I can buy into the lies of the enemy just like anybody else can. So I share the same struggles that everybody else does, and it's only by God's grace, obviously, that any of us, carry on.
Okay. Well, I'm out of questions myself personally, but I was wondering if you'd be interested in giving a message not only to the youth at Franklin Heights, but also to the ones who weren't able to come for one reason or another. So.
Well, first off, I tell any student, that's in a group that does usually come to Fuge to come. Whatever it takes next year, get on the bus and come, because I think that camp has a special opportunity to change people's lives, because you take a time out from normal life and you come and you spend a week focused just on Jesus. And so I would say come to camp, but I guess more importantly and a lot bigger than all of that, it would be know Jesus, fall in love with Jesus. Don't worry about all of these do's and don'ts. Get to know and fall in love with Jesus, and all of these do's and don'ts that you hear so many people talking about, they start to take care of themselves. The more you and I love Jesus, the more you and I know Jesus, the more we're going to become like him. And that's the greatest life you can live, is a pursuit towards becoming more like Jesus.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Thanks, dude.
Is that a wrap?
It's a wrap.
Okay.
Sweet.